No Block, No Rock, Season 2, Episode 23, our 51st. We're saying 51. Sorry, not going 50. I'm going 51. I'm being accurate.
No,
with
this is the special episode. This is
All
episode 51. No, I'm just kidding. It's our 50th special, right?
And we had to make it special.
Yeah,
right?
we had to
Like
make
you
it
said.
special, so we know what we do.
What do we do?
We bring in another guest. You know,
Another one.
Jared's little brother, huh?
Yeah, Jared's little brother. So
Okay.
before we get started on this, oh no, you know what? We'll introduce him first. I don't want to be rude.
I like how he chimes in before he's even introduced.
Yeah, he's not
I
even
like
introduced yet. And
He's ready.
and
like that's
he's
my
ready
style.
to start cracking Jared, cracking jokes on Jared.
That's fine.
So
Well, look, this was a long time coming.
Oh yeah.
We went to the same high school. My brother kept asking, when you gonna ask him? I don't want to bother him. He's busy selling houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, painting houses, selling houses, doing it all really. So
Well, for our listeners, if they couldn't guess who this is, former walk-on, team captain, starting center, Dylan Utter.
Yes, sir.
Dilly.
hey, Dilly, we went from LV all the way to Nebraska or all the way to Lincoln, and guess what? We're back in LV.
Oh,
So
yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. Bring
Back
back
home.
to the roots, right?
yeah, right back to the roots. So
Yes, sir.
Quick drive.
So before we get started, Dylan, you knew Jared in high school. Was he as big of a dweeb as we know him as he is today?
Jesus.
Like, I mean, tell us a little bit about Jared. Do you have any stories about throwing him in a locker or something? Because obviously
This was not
you're-
in the script.
you're you're obviously much larger than Jared.
Yeah.
So did you ever throw him in any lockers? Anything like that
Jesus.
that our listeners need to hear about?
Not really. Jared should, even before high school, I probably knew him, even running around as a little kid. But long story short, Jared's older brother was assigned to be my babysitter basically throughout high school, is the way I would put it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So Jared was through a senior when I was a freshman.
Yeah,
So
That's right.
we when you're a freshman, you kind of just stick to yourself, stay in
Yeah.
the freshman hallway, and I didn't want Jared telling the wrong people to beat me up.
Okay.
I had connections. Just
He had connections. He'd have taken you
Still-
down.
Still do.
Those
Oh, yeah.
those LV streets, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's hard
the
out here.
The backwoods, baby.
All right.
Still live there.
Still.
Yeah. Okay. So, I talked to. I work with Sean McLaughlin.
Okay.
Coach Mack, right?
Pap South then?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, I'm having Dylan Utter on. You have any special questions you want me to ask him? And he goes, you know what? You know what you should ask him is, I want you to ask him about high school recruiting.
Okay.
Not his recruitment to Nebraska, but talk about high school among high schools,
Yeah.
right? Because this whole thing with Gretna having their title
Yeah, crazy.
revoked.
That's a
Crazy.
bunch of bullshit. But go on.
Yeah, I mean, and you hear pretty prominent guys on the radio or whatever talk about, oh, his dad didn't want him to go to this school, so we went to this school instead. They can pick any school they want to go to, but then Gretna does it, and they get their title revoked.
Yeah.
But that's because Gretna and Mick had talked about this on our episode.
Right.
Gretna is the only school, probably in this area, that can break that rule because they don't have open enrollment.
Papio doesn't either, actually. I don't believe. There's
Nope.
closed borders, too. So.
Yeah. So you have to have, for the Gretna thing, you
address.
have to have a Gretna address.
Yeah.
And Papio probably saying you have to have a Papio address to go to Papillion La Vista
Right.
or north or south.
Yeah.
So
But but I just want you to talk about. Have you noticed just a recruiting? Have you any Nick Sabans in OPS
Yeah.
that are just
A lot of people
recruiters?
have said Bell West kind of goes out and does that, gets guys from other districts and stuff like that. But, it's crazy that kids are going to youth football now to recruit, I thought that was the beauty of high school sports is, you grow up with the guys you play with, you play spirit, play junior high, play high school. And it's our school versus your school, but nowadays you can just transfer and no one cares. Back when we grew up, if you transferred, it's well, we'll see you later on the field, buddy. And
Yeah.
Right.
now it's just good luck. You're probably going to go, kill us in a game, but hey, you're my friend now, so
Mhm.
it's interesting. But I mean, if they're allowed to do it, shoot, why wouldn't anyone? My old roommate Riker Fife, he's at Millard South coaching too.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I know those guys kind of do the same thing. Millard South has some good youth sports, so I think they try to bring guys into the district. But
It's sudden. It is quickly turning into a business at all levels.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
you have high school mercenaries like being hired as admin.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and they're just like low key trying to get kids over. It's like, dang, like, where do we draw the line?
Okay, so
You know?
we have NIL right now for college kids. Pretty soon it's going to be NIL for high school kids.
I mean,
Like, these kids are going to have handlers, in high school, like dealing, hey, which high school is going to get me the most money?
like that high schooler that went to Ohio State and he took his whole
money
senior
in the
year off
bag.
or what?
Yeah.
It's like, dang, what?
Right, collected the check and left. So
Hey,
I don't
wow.
know. I don't even know. How is that even getting paid out? Is the $1 million deal? Does it get that up front? Lump sum. Payments, or
Here's what I will say about it. Let's none of us pretend and act like we do know, because I don't think anybody knows how this
Right.
shit works.
Not a chance.
No one.
No, actually,
Wild West.
NBNR has a special connection with all these NIL. No, we don't know shit. So-
I
think
think you might
even-
as well start doing it though. Get some freaking current Huskers, throw them. I don't know, pizza and
We've-
drink.
dude,
We sent messages.
pizza and beer. We've hit up some guys. Pizza and beer, pizza and drinks.
Yeah.
We have 2 wonderful sponsors. Let's just talk about them right now. We are recording here at Soldier Valley Distillery, Patriarch Distillers. And Jared, what you sipping on over there?
What am I sipping on? Usually I'm the one who asks you what you're
I know,
sipping on.
but I had to lead in, so
Okay, so I'm looking on the menu, right? And I see the Betty Page. She used to be a pinup model in the 50s.
yeah.
I go, hey, that's my style right there. So let me just grab this menu because I don't want to get the ingredients wrong, Kyle. I don't mean to be rude. Patriarch whiskey, strawberry simple syrup, and a little bit of lemonade. And it's sweet but not too sweet.
Just like Betty.
It's just like I don't know so much anymore, but but it's refreshing. No regrets, no regrets, as they say. Mike, okay, you asked me. That looks pretty. You got a pickle in that? What is that?
It's a Sunday
You got a
morning.
Yeah.
pick
What is it?
Okay, so for those of you who I'm not like, I don't like go out of my way to drink a lot of mixed drinks and stuff like that, but I'm a big Bloody Mary guy.
Mm.
Okay, and so I wanted to try their Bloody Mary, which is called the K Ration. It's Soldier Valley vodka, Bloody Mary mix, chocolate bitters, garnished with jerky and a pickle. And I will
Mm.
tell you what, this is probably one of the best Bloody Marys I've had in a long time.
Okay.
So Kyle and I were watching a playoff game, and we were at a bar and grill, and I got a Bloody Mary there, and it tasted like I was drinking straight Tabasco sauce. So like I felt
very
like
pleasant.
I felt like I was gonna be scarred like for a while from Bloody Marys,
Choking it down.
and I am glad that I ordered this today because it brought me back to
Revived you.
yeah, I'm revived. I can drink Bloodies again.
Your faith has been restored in Bloody Marys.
Yes,
Because of Patriarch Distiller Soldier Valley Spirits.
absolutely. Dylan, what are you
Sir.
drinking over there?
Well, we're at the most American distillery you could be in, so I had to keep it manly. Went with the old fashioned, the old kick in the 6. So not bad, easy to drink. I'm myself am a beer guy, so this is pretty smooth though.
There you go.
Okay. Kyle.
Kyle.
Last but definitely not least.
Of
man.
course not. I'm drinking the CB. This is what Mike had last week. It's the Soldier Valley Amber Rum Blue Carousel,
Mhm.
raspberry liquor, and lemonade. I chose the CB because I had a really good relationship with our CBs overseas,
Okay.
on our little camp there, and yeah. So this CB here is for you boys.
So yeah.
We're raising our glasses on the video, as you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't know, Kyle is a veteran himself and did take a couple trips. So that is what he is talking about.
Good relationship here with Patriarch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
So
Back to Dylan.
back to
Let's
Dylan.
do it.
Hello,
Right.
Dylan. Hi,
I
Dylan.
like
welcome
to talk, don't
welcome
worry.
to No Block No Rock. It's nice to have you finally. 50 episodes in. We
Yes,
finally
sir.
got you.
Yes, sir. No, that's what I was mad. Jared didn't ask me sooner. I figured I'd be top 5.
Look, I didn't want
I don't
to.
know.
I didn't want to be a burden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all.
I mean, like I said, pizza and booze and talking football.
Listen,
It doesn't
it's-
get better.
it's
right?
pretty good, right? But hey, you're a fellow Monarch. So
yes, sir.
let's talk about that little. It's not a huge pipeline, but
Mhm.
like in the mid '90s, you had Reggie Ball,
Oh yeah.
wide receiver.
Jeremy
Overlooked.
Schlechter.
I was gonna say most overlooked, probably Husker of all
Oh
time,
yeah.
because he played in the league for a long time with the
Long
Eagles.
time. Yep.
Jeremy Selecta, former Monarch.
He was a good. Long story short, I ran into I think it was a sister or something one night out, and he said that he actually lived in the apartments that I grew up.
Yeah.
In. So I was like, oh, that's pretty badass. We both grew up here, went to Nebraska, kind of did the thing. Obviously, he played, so he has the one up. But no, yeah, we're happy to be here. The Monarchs in the '90s just kind of ran stuff. So that's kind of where the toughness came from. You know, La Vista guys, you know what I'm talking about. So we kind of take that with us wherever we
Gritty.
go. Oh yeah, the old gritty lunch pail guys we call them.
So sticking on the La Vista thing.
Oh, yeah.
So as a Monarch,
Mhm.
how does it feel that Jared works for the opposite,
Yeah.
the non-OG Papillion?
Yeah, it kind of seems like that's the trend though. He works with a lot of former Monarch employees, teachers, coaches, and so they all kind of went over there. I don't know. It's something I don't know if I could do myself, but hey, whatever pays the
Yeah,
bill.
I guess I wouldn't consider myself a traitor.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a traitor.
I don't know how it feels, so I
I'm not
can't
about
speak
the
on.
transfer portal. I guess Jared is, but
He took his talents down
to
south.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
else is
South
doing
Beach.
it. Everybody else is doing it. I'm in the
I mean, yeah,
portal.
they do have great facilities over there. I don't know if you guys heard about the nice football indoor they have over
Oh,
there, but
Mm-mm.
that's all drama in itself between
No,
the two schools.
no, dude. I don't know if you've driven by Monarch High, but they're getting a little something.
It
something.
does look sweet. It does look sweet, but
Might even be better than Titans. I don't know.
Good.
I don't know.
yeah, as far as
I'm not mad.
as far
Hey,
as
you do what
academics
you gotta
and life after sports, but hey, they have the football freaking facility in there, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we also went to school with Gina Mancuso,
Oh yeah, Gina. She's
significant Husker volleyball
yeah, she
player,
was a
of course.
baller. So she was at Nebraska when I was there too. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool. She was Gatorade National Player of the Year when we were there. So I mean, the school was basically Gina's school when we were there. They had the whole day for her. They gave her the key to the city and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Heck
Wow.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we need to give her the keys to No Block No Rock. So if you got an in,
I mean, we did work together for a little bit. She
Mhm.
was up at Berkshire Hathaway when I was there, so she I think is the CEO's assistant. So
Oh.
she might be up there. She's related to Roy Halou too now, so you
Mhm.
guys might go for the 2-for-1.
oh
there.
Hey.
man,
Yeah.
we could take the whole family. I
Yeah.
don't even care.
Yeah, bring him in.
I was gonna say Roy ended up marrying her older sister, so
Yeah.
I think they live out in
Danny.
Bennington.
Nice.
Yep. So, Gina was good, and then they had the Rolfson twins. They were from Papio South though, and then
Yep.
Kelly Hunter was a stud too.
Yep.
Who went there. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys can call it, but it looks like a little dynasty over there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
Freaking, hey, wait.
We got to keep it in LV, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
LV.
Girl sports schools. That's what we used to say back when he was in high school.
yeah.
Girl.
Listen,
Well, hey, no.
not much has changed at the University of Nebraska.
Exactly. So,
Hey, women's basketball, shout out,
Shout
top
out.
Wow.
5 wins.
Yes.
So
Big shout out.
that
let's
was
go.
electric. That was incredible. That was just a fun game to watch. That's everything that we're looking for in every other sport.
Have you guys been to a women's game or no?
I have
I
not.
have.
Yeah, me
I've
neither,
never been.
I'm sorry, Amy. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry, Amy. If you want to
Or
hook
Con-
us
and
up with
Connie.
some sideline seats, No Block No Rock will gladly sit in
Yeah.
and cheer our asses off.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I mean, they beat 2 top 10 teams, and they're still
Mhm.
not ranked at 19 and 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
But
they lost 2 in a row last week. So
kind of put them down, or what?
I think so a little bit, but they haven't been getting respect all year. And you know what? They're gonna probably get like a 7 seed in the tournament.
Let's go for
and-
Jensen.
That's fine. You know, let them crawl in there. You know,
Mhm.
it's good. They don't,
Let them be overlooked a little bit. Play underdog.
yeah,
See if that works.
it's better than the men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. What was it last week or the week before they did sneak out a win
Yeah.
finally? Was
Yes,
it
they
last
did.
week?
And last week
Against
against
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah. Good for them.
Imagine being Minnesota basketball.
Yeah.
What a bunch.
You lost to the worst team in the country.
How does it feel?
The
I mean,
worst.
shoot, the basketball team was supposed to be the year though. Go dancing, get the first tourney win and everything. I mean, Fred's got to be on the hot seat then, or what?
Oh,
$18.5 million. Say differently.
yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
We don't need to dive into that. I am a season ticket holder for basketball, so I put myself through a lot of agony between
Yeah.
football and
I'm
basketball.
sorry.
But you know what? You know they sometimes they have glimpses of fun basketball to watch, and
Yeah.
then there's usually like a 10-minute drought of just what are you doing?
Yeah.
So
When I was there, they had T Petaway though. So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
real fun to watch.
Wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
I- yeah.
Prolific scorer.
Did you hang out with any of the basketball players?
Not really. Just kind of seemed like the football guys hang out with football, baseball, basketball.
For sure.
I mean, if anything, you try to hang out with like the lady sports just to kind of integrate. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know when I first got there, people would always, God, I can't remember what baseball guy it was, but him and Taylor Martinez were always like in some type of battle. I don't know if they were dating each other's girlfriends.
Oh,
but
little beef.
It would be funny though, because it'd be on. That's when Twitter was first a thing, and people weren't monitoring it, and baseball kids would get on there and talk crap, and then it would just be a big ordeal. So,
Yeah.
I feel like at the university, and you probably could tell us this, like volleyball girls probably chill with the football players, or maybe is it football and basketball since they need like a taller guy, right?
I mean, no, it just kind of depends, really. Which crew hangs out with crew. It could be like I don't know. When I was there, everyone had their own clique. Usually it's scholarship guys, walk-ons were with walk-ons. And from there, you kind of branched. Did the other sports have local Nebraska people? Usually those guys kind of stay together. But, you just try to have fun, whether it's, the soccer team, the volleyball team, or whoever the heck it is.
Right.
So Sam Hahn said this. Once a walk-on, always a walk-on?
Oh, yeah. Walk on you, baby.
All
That's
right.
Nebraska, isn't
There
it?
you go.
So let's talk about coming up
Walking
as a
on.
walk-on from
Yeah.
Monarch High, and
Mhm.
like what's that journey like for a walk? Like, and even talk to future players that might be listening
Yeah.
to this. What's it like to be a walk-on at Nebraska? Like,
Yeah.
what's the mindset got to be?
It's just different now. What did they sign? 4 walk-ons this year or something? What was the walk-on class this year?
Not significant, not as
Not like it
significant as it used to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I signed with 15 or 16 guys, and
Mm.
quote unquote, we dubbed ourselves as the greatest walk-on class ever. I don't know if you guys have looked at the lines, like Andy Janovich, Brandon Riley. I was up there, Sam Hahn. My roommate was Simpson, Riker Fife, Ross DeZuris. Like, all of us guys were scholarship, ended up playing. And so, you don't really get to see that in your everyday walk-on class.
Right.
The good thing about us, though, is like we signed only like 14 scholarship guys that year. And by the time we're out, I think we had 7 guys left or something.
Nice.
Wow.
So like they all left or got kicked off or quit or this, that, and the other. But it kind of is nice for some of them walk-ons we can squeeze our way.
Hell
into
yeah.
Hell yeah.
scholarship. But no, like Jared was saying, out of high school, I had like 2 offers really: North Dakota and then West Point Army. So it's like, well,
Heck
I'm not
yeah.
going to the tundra, and I'm definitely not going in the service. I wanted the college, route a little bit. So, you could have got offers from the other Dakotas. I just never wanted to go to their camps. I was busy trying to go to like the Iowa State camp, Iowa camp, K-State, Kansas. Really was just shooting for that D1, D1, lifestyle really. So I think it was the first game or weekend in my senior year. Nebraska sent me like unofficial, and like, oh shit, did I really just get this in the mail?
I'm on the radar.
Yeah,
So were you a
I'm on-
Nebraska fan growing up then?
Oh, always.
Okay.
And any picture you see me in, I'm probably wearing a Husker shirt,
Okay.
or a Husker hat. You know, it's just like one of those dreams I always had that you don't really think that could ever really happen until you go up there. But they sent me that letter. The shitty part was we had a rain delay in our Friday night game, so we had to reschedule for that Saturday. I'm like, oh shit, they're never sending me another, invite again. But they ended up doing that. I probably went to 2 or 3 games throughout the year, and then, it was time, to decide. And I remember North Dakota even like, hey, we're in town to do a home visit, and I'm like, just not answering the phone.
Is it North Dakota or North Dakota State?
North Dakota.
Okay.
North Dakota State wanted to offer. They're like, come to the camp and we'll offer. And I'm just like, I don't really. One, don't have the money to go up there, and
Okay.
2, I
Yeah.
don't have the time to go up there really.
Yeah.
So it was just like, Nebraska or bust really. So they would hold, like Sam Hahn had talked, they hold that walk-on day where like all the walk-ons had came, and Sam said there was only X amount that they were taking. And then they said that in the meeting. I'm like, oh shit, I better tell them I'm coming now. You
Right.
know? So I think I called Coach Cotton every week for about 3-4 weeks. I'm like, are you sure that I'm coming up here? Never talked to Bo Pelini once. Like, not once. And I still went there. Barney was just the main, source of contact. But, you go up there, walk on. The first summer I went up there, I didn't have a roommate, so it was kind of shitty. Like, my roommate didn't come to the fall. So everyone was on like the west wing of Selleck Hall it was, and I was on the east side. So like they're all hanging out. I have no roommate over here. I went home every weekend. I'm like, well, this is miserable,
Did you kind of have second thoughts like, dang, should I have gone to?
You're just like, I have no friends here. It was kind of good for me though, because I'm like, well, let's go to class, let's go to workouts. I was in bed by 10, up by 5. I was just head down. Ask any of the guys there. I just had my headphones on. I'd go to class. I'd go to my room and stuff. But that fall comes. What fall camp is, the 105.
Yeah.
You can only make the 105. So that first year, you're like, ain't no way I'm making 105. Go home, come back in the fall, and it's kind of weird. With Bo Pelini, the scout team was just hell back then. Like you're not even really a part of the, like I was on the O-line, but you didn't go to one offensive meeting. You didn't do offensive drills. You didn't do anything. You went to practice. You went straight down to the defense. You did your warm-ups straight to the defense. And I termed it as we're basically live dummies, the stand-up dummies that they have. You were
right,
hands on knees, just letting guys fire into you, chest and pad.
You're just cannon fodder.
You're just sitting there. You're just sitting there, and it's awful.
Who was the toughest defensive guy
To go on
to
scout.
to beat on you when you were on
just
scout
to
team?
be on the receiving end
Yeah.
of.
It just kind of depends. You kind of pick your couple guys who you do the drills with, and like, all right, man, you kind of have that truth. Like, But
Don't mess me up.
Come
I
on,
don't know if you
man.
guys
Don't make me look
remember-
like shit.
I don't remember if you remember Joe Carter at all. He didn't really play too
Hmm.
much. Joe Carter. He was number 7.
I was
but-
going to say he was number 7, right?
7,
Okay.
yeah. But if you had to pull and kick him out, he was strong. I mean, not the best football player, strong as an ox though. And if you had to pull, he would just headbutt you every time, and you'd get. I don't know if you guys know what stingers are, but it's like. It's this, I don't know. It's like some type of strain in your neck where it's like hot, cold, just the worst feeling. But I think I got those every practice. In my
Oh,
freshman
hell
year.
no.
Oh yeah. And you're screaming like, "Are you okay?" And you're like, "Just give me 2 minutes, 2 plays," and it just goes dead. But Joe was a beater. I mean, like I said, I'd go against Baker Mayfield.
Baker was that? He made a special appearance.
He should have. He was actually same walk-on class as me, but he went to a different school.
Right.
No, Steinkooler, he had those freaking long arms. What was he, the last 5-star? Like, he was the last 5-star we recruited in the longest
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Before, have we had a 5-star since then?
Nope. Him and Marlon Lucky
I
are,
was gonna say the only two I remember
Are
is
the
Marlon
only
Lucky.
two, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him are. I think they're the only 2 in like the last 20 years. So
Yeah. Scout team, though, I mean, that's literally the only thing. I mean, that was one of the main motivating factors. You're like, I would rather not play football than be on the scout team, So you go through that whole year, I'm just thinking, all right, wait till my time in the spring ball comes. I'll work my ass off. And shoot, I ended up Jared kind of knows I was a big guy growing up. So I came into Nebraska a little overweight. And so my goal was drop as much weight as possible. And so the first day we show up, me and Michael Rose, if you remember him. Mike
Yep.
Rose. So he was a little bit overweight too. And so we all weigh in first day, whatever. Don't think anything of it. We go to work out the first day and they go, Mike Rose, Dylan Utter, you guys are over here.
Oh, hell no.
Hey,
We're like, what the hell does
Go
this
to
mean?
go to the fat
yeah, we're like,
the
what
fat
is-
area.
Oh,
fat
dude.
camp.
We're like, you guys won't be working out to the team until you lose weight, So
What?
I swear
Okay.
to God. Swear to God. So,
Discrimination.
really though.
Wow.
It gets better. I mean, we had to
Gets better.
pull prowlers, push sleds. I mean, run on the treadmill until you were down weight. But even before, all right, so that happens, right? And I'm losing a little bit of weight. I'm a big guy. I probably came in at like 310. I wanted to get down to 270. I'm like, I'll be here for 5 years. We can, I'll be here for 5 years. We'll be here. I'll lose some weight. Just to
10 pounds a year. You'll be good.
So we'll accelerate it even faster than that. So like, I'm the walk-on guy in the summer. I'm thinking I'm gonna ball out, and we do this thing where you put on like a weight belt. 2 guys have a weight belt, and there's like a rope in between, and obviously you just fucking run the other, run opposite directions. And Big Vince Valentine goes up.
Oh,
Like,
no.
Hell no.
and no one wants to go against him. I'm like, fuck this. I'll do it. This is my time. So I go up there, right? I go to put the weightlifting belt on, and it won't strap on.
No.
I'm too big for it.
They don't have extenders on that.
I'm
shit?
like, what size is this? I just used one in the weight room. Like, did you get the small size? So, Coach Dobson was there. He goes, Utter, what the fuck? He's like, don't ever come out here until you lose weight again, you fat fuck. Just absolutely goes off on me. Just goes off. So, I mean, a couple years later, I'm down at like 270. He's like, Utter, what the fuck are you doing? You weigh 270. You think you're ever going to play here at 270? Like, Coach, you don't remember you calling me fat in the fucking... He's like, no, I never said that. I'm like, jeez. So... that was it right away. I was like, I gotta lose weight. So the whole first semester, we report like the first 2 months of college. I'm sure you guys know. I mean, it's just a rager, and I'm just thinking, I'm not gonna party. I'm not doing anything. Like, coaches are gonna see me.
I'm gonna be a good boy.
And that didn't happen.
Oh, you weren't. Dylan wasn't a good boy.
Well, it's like, the first 2 months, you do that, and then you realize, like, all right, I'm on scout team. These guys don't even watch scout film. They don't, they're
Right.
worried on winning this Saturday. They don't care about what Utter's doing on scout team this week.
Oh man.
So, I mean, you go through that. You go through the winter. I'm just busting my ass. At this time, I'm like 270 now, so I'm in better shape than all the linemen. I can outrun them. I'm decently strong. I'm probably top 5, top 10 strongest, out of those guys. So it goes good. We go into spring ball, which is crazy because you're just trying to learn the whole playbook. And all these scholarship guys in your grade have already been through fall camp. They've already seen the fire, and you're just trying to learn fucking inside zone right, inside zone left. So comes like first week of practice or something, and Ryan Reeves goes down with an injury. So they throw me into the fire at 270, and it's like, I can't remember who the center was, but then it was Andrew Rodriguez right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you know what the fuck you're doing? I'm like, no. He's like, just listen. So, I kind of balled out that spring. I thought, I'd put in the work, and some guys had some knee injuries and stuff. So go through the whole summer. Like I said, whole summer I don't drink either. Can you imagine that being in college, not drinking a whole summer? Yeah. And so the guys would come and fuck with me every day in the locker room. They're like, Utter, what'd you do for your max out this week? And I'm like, only 5 pounds. They're like, wow, we were blacked out and we did 10 more pounds.
Yeah,
this week.
yeah.
Like, is it worth it? And I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be worth it. And so then, fall camp comes and they go, Utter, you didn't make this shit again. I'm like, oh Lord. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm quitting. I hate this. Like, I didn't just bust my ass for a whole year, just for you guys to cut me, really. So from there, talk to the coaches. Are you transferring? This when transferring wasn't a thing. So like, you don't really think about transfer. You just like, I'm either going to be done or, I'm
So they were legit worried about you.
I mean, I don't know if you'd call it worried, but
curious.
Do we need another scout team guy?
Yeah.
Do we need to call in?
Who do
or
we need to
what?
call from the bullpen?
Yeah, bring in the next dummy.
Yeah,
Bring in the next fat dummy.
The next fat dummy, really. I'm telling you, man, when they would fire off the ball, you'd be in no pads too, and you're just a stand-up dummy. Could you just imagine just taking the helmet to the chest?
No
all the
thanks.
time?
Oh,
No,
Then
thanks.
you have the jerseys, and they'd push pull, the old push pull, and you'd get rug burn on your neck from the jersey just rubbing you and stuff.
Dude.
It was miserable. That scout team, well, Coach Kaz, what was his name? Coach Kaczynski?
Yeah.
Rick Kaczynski.
Yeah, so I mean, that man was a psychopath. I mean, he was a psycho. I mean, right after he got fired, he got in a little trouble with the law, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We'll backtrack to that first year. Aaron Curry, if you remember him, he was a D tackle. He was in my class, but he was only there for 2 years before he transferred to TCU.
Okay.
So me and Curry were like 1 and 2. We worked out together. We did everything together except for he was playing, as a true freshman. But he played like the first 3 games, and back then it was like the rule where you could barely play and your red shirt's pulled.
Right.
So they screwed him over and they pulled his red shirt and they never played him the rest of the year.
Oh, because you couldn't play one snap.
Yeah.
Right.
One snap and
It
you were
was
done.
like it was like 2 quarters you could play, or 4 full quarters you could play, or something.
Okay.
So he does that, right? And Coach Kaz would just rip on him every day. He's like, "You stupid," just mother effing him up and down the field. And so Curry, I was his partner in drills, so we'd have it. I'm like, please don't mess up on drills. I don't want to go again. You don't want to go again. So we had a system. I'd blink left if I was inside zone and right. I'd scratch my arm.
Wow.
I just didn't want him to get yelled at. Dude. I just didn't want him. And so there was one day at practice, and when you're on Scout O and it's team, team O versus team D, the good guys, and we're just standing on there, and they come back, and Curry's coming in. Coach Kaz is just on his ass. He goes, "Fuck you, Curry, fuck you." Just the whole team period, right? So then special teams breaks, he comes back and whatever, they do it again, and he goes, "You know what, Curry, I started thinking, it's not fuck you, it's fuck me for ever recruiting your ass here."
Oh, hell no.
He's like,
And I'm sure that cut deeper than
he's
all.
like, next time your mom calls up here while you're not playing, I'm going to let her know. I was like, damn, dude.
You got to bring mom into it?
Oh, and he'd be like, Utter, just roll up into my knee. There'd be rumors that he would try to like slam his wrist into the door so he could get his red shirt back.
Wow.
I mean, he ended up transferring. I mean, he was a stud too. I mean, he could have helped us out quite a bit, but no, that's my Coach Kaz and Aaron Curry's story. So yeah, like we were saying, so after that first full year, I'm going into my second year, and same thing, went through the spring ball. I was kind of balling out, doing my thing, rolling with the second string. But then I'm getting more kind of confident talking to the coaches. I'm like, hey, I'm not here just to be the normal walk-on guy to walk out of the tunnel, That's pretty cool, the first 4 or 5 times. But when you're not playing the football game, how cool can it really get? You're getting hyped for your boys. That's fun. But, so I go in there one day during spring ball and I go, listen here, I'm not here just to be this guy. I'm like, you have me with the third team. I just started name dropping. I'm like, I'm better than Joe, Jim, and Jeff, and I was like, I'm not here to block the third string guys that are just, bodies, So that kind of goes through, and, we'd be in this, film room during spring ball, and, I haven't had any playing time, any sign of playing time. And Coach Garrison's watching film one time, and he's like, everyone, I just want you to look at Utter right now. Look what he's doing. He's like, Utter, what are you doing? I'm like, well, you stepped, left it 6 inches. You want your right foot through the crotch and blah, blah, blah. You go, exactly. You guys, this is why he's going to fucking play this year. And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh,
man.
man.
I was like, what
Just
did he
got
say? Hold on,
real.
rewind. Say that one more time for the people in the back. Right. I hear this right? I mean, well, that third year, I kind of went all, or second, the redshirt year, kind of going into my third year, but I went all in. I was like, I'm sitting in the front row next to Mike Mowdy, who you guys should have. He's a Papillion guy now.
Yeah,
he lives around here, so you should get him on. But Mike was a good mentor, good dude. I sat by him, and so we go through that spring, same thing in the summer, busting my ass, and this time I'm probably like 280. Gained 10 pounds since the 270 days.
Okay,
but go through the whole summer, and another thing had happened. You know, I'd work my ass off, and I remember Amir came up to me. He's like, "Hunter, what have you been doing? You're looking kind of swole." You know, I was like, "Well, if Amir's telling me this, I think I got something going on." You know, he's like, "You're getting better." Blah blah blah. So we go through the spring ball, and you know, I finally make fall camp. You know, get the call. You made it. I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" You know, it's all paid off because back then my goal was just to be two deep. You know, if you're in the two deep, you're gonna travel with the team. You're gonna go to the games. You know, you're gonna probably see some playing time, maybe be on PAT. So my goal was always just to be on, two deep because, starting, being a captain wasn't even in, the forefront. But we go to fall camp and Jake Cotton has like a back injury basically. So they're babying Jake all spring, all fall camp.
Well, hold on. Was that the one where he fell back?
He just fell
It
backwards.
was that year though.
Yeah.
It was that year.
Okay,
Oh, my back.
can we take a slight break and
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah.
Like, that is like one of the most used gifts of all time.
I feel where he's doing, but like eventually catch yourself, big fella. Like catch yourself. Because like you flinched that butt cheek, dude. You're trying to hold it like no one saw that, and then like he just held it too long. The funny thing about that though, so I'm Jake's backup that whole year, right? And so that game's at Michigan State. It's freezing fucking rain. It's awful. And ironically, I have pneumonia. So I'm sitting on the sideline. Jake falls on his ass, and I'm like, please do not put me in. Please do not.
This is your
put
Michael
me in.
Jordan moment.
I was just like, no, this is not me. I'm sitting by the, they have the heaters on
Yeah.
the side. I'm like, do not put me in. Like, I thought my head was going to explode on the
Wow.
planes, just like I feel like shit. So
Yeah.
that's my good story about that. I'm like, just don't take him out. And we got our shit kicked in that game. I mean, the O-line, the next day on film, Coach Garrison was like, you guys must fucking not like our starting quarterback. He's getting his ass kicked. Then Riker 5 comes in. First time 5's played in the game, right? Same thing. I think he goes and actually scores or something. Goes and scores, but first 3 plays, he just gets put on his ass. Garrison goes, we don't like our first quarterback. Hell, we don't like our second quarterback either. It was just like, what are we even doing here? I mean, we almost won the game. What was that when DPE he housed that return and somehow we almost squeezed that out.
Yeah.
But that fucking game, I had pneumonia and I was on the sideline. I just could not stand it.
So how much shit did you give him for all of that? Like obviously we have not seen anything like it since or before.
I've never seen anything in any level of football
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
Ever.
The thing is, social media was just tearing into him.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you didn't have to say
Poor guy.
anything. I mean, he's a walking meme for the rest of his life. For
Yeah.
That. But speaking of a guy that got skinny, you should see what Jake looks like now. I mean, he's probably 210. I mean, he's skinny as hell. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he was a guy that had to force feed. His plate was probably this big in the training table just because he had to eat so much. I mean, some of those guys, you can either put it on real easy or some guys like Mick and Jake and those guys, they just have to eat nonstop. But yeah. So we go through that. Jake gets hurt, so I'm running with the ones and Amir gives me another compliment. He's like, I think you're going to get some playing time this year. So that goes through. I see, some spare time throughout the year. Played at FAU and some of the non-conference games. And
You played like 6 games, didn't you?
you
Started one, right?
So I don't remember how many we played because it was those things where Garrison would be like, you guys are all the second string, we're gonna all play, blah blah blah. And then what it was after McNeese State, no one fucking saw the field again. No one saw the field. He's like, that game, Tommy threw a pick 6 with the second team guys in a 99-yarder, and yeah, he just never let us go back.
So on Buzzing with the Boys, Amir had talked about that McNeese State game a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Was the locker room? How was the locker room after that game when Amir pretty much carried us to victory against an FCS school?
Yeah, that's just kind of what it was. One of the best players you'll ever see in football. I mean, the game's over at that point, and I don't know how he doesn't go down, but that was one of the most miraculous plays you'll see. But no, Amir was one of one out there. I mean, the way he could cut on a dime, really. I mean, he's this close to the ground when he's cutting. His knees about touching, but he was special. He made a lot of he made the line probably look better than what we were that year too. I mean, he was making one miss in the backfield, it seemed like every time. But so yeah, we go through that year, blah blah blah. Well, we have 2 centers go out that year. Mark Pelini tore his knee in the Minnesota game. And then Ryan Reeves is getting his first start in the Iowa game, tears his fucking knee or breaks his leg again. So they put in our third guy, which was Paul Thurston. He was the scholarship center that they brought in my class. So, I mean, Paul was a good dude, good athlete. He just didn't have that, the dog in him that, per se. But
He's not an LV dog.
he's not a dog. He's not from LV. I just hate to say it, but I mean, it comes to play. But so, he gets hurt. He finishes that game. Well, that, is the Iowa game. We're getting ready for the bowl game against USC, and Bo gets the boot and everything. And so it's kind of open enrollment at that center position. And so me and Paul, coach was like, well, I was playing left guard at the time behind Jake and never started center. He's just like, move over there. You guys will have a competition and we'll see what happens. We'll see who gets the nod. So this is a pretty good story. We go down to bowl games, and I don't know if anyone's talked to bowl games. That first day is just a shit show. You got like the midnight curfew and everyone just goes ballistic. You just hit up all the strip clubs, anything. If you're not 21, you go to the strip clubs.
Hey.
Yeah.
Because it's the only place you don't have to be 21, So we'd all go there, blah, blah, blah. So the next morning comes and you got to go to like 8 a.m. practice. And we're sitting on the bus and me and another, we're all hungover. Me and another guy, we get into a little argument, right? And, bickering back and forth. Long story short, he gets up and he whispers to me. He's like, if you put your hands on me, I'm going to knock you out. So I'm like, wait, what? So I get up, right? And we kind of like headbutt him. He swings on me and I just wail on him,
Oh, no.
3 right overhands right away. Boom, boom, boom. Stitch him up, everything. He's squirting, right? And I'm like, oh, fuck, Utter. You just messed up your opportunity to start. You're getting kicked off. You're getting sent home.
Shoot.
This is crazy, right? So they put me on another bus and we show up to practice and, we're in the training room. Trey, I'll name drop Trey Foster.
Yeah.
He's getting his freaking stitches, whatever. And,
No.
Coach Garrison comes over to me. He goes, what the fuck happened over there? And I was like, just being drunk guys. And he goes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have like a 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. curfew tonight. And he's like, and I wanted you to take the number 1 reps today. I'm like, what in the hell? I thought you were going to send me home. And now you're telling me I'm starting this game? I was like,
It's the opposite.
So I beat his ass and I got to start a
the
game.
Could you believe it? And I'm like,
you know why? Because you had that dog.
Because you were a dog.
I swear to God. So, what's funny is Coach Cotton has an article out like the week. He's like, Dylan Utter's going to start blah, blah, blah. Did you play junior high football at all or no?
Unfortunately.
So with Coach Wood, right?
Yeah, Ray Wood.
Do you remember he used to say Walmart wannabes and junkyard dogs, right?
Because we practiced right behind
Right by
Walmart.
and the junkyard was right there
Oh my
too.
God.
So what was Jared was a Walmart wannabe,
Oh my
right?
God.
And you were a
Dude,
junkyard
I was,
dog.
I was bag and save, bro.
Yeah.
I suck.
So that's what he'd say. Like if the left side was up, it'd be the Walmart guys. If it was the right, whatever. So Coach Cotton has this article and he's like, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog, and that name just stuck. They just started, random guys would just be like, "What's up, junkyard?" Or just something like that. But craziest story. That was USC. So we go out there, and I don't know if you remember who the starting freaking D lineman was for him. Freaking Leonard Williams.
Leonard
Yeah.
Williams.
So I'm getting my
He's pretty
first.
good.
I'm getting my first nod against Leonard Williams. And
Well, speaking of being thrown on the fire,
yeah, thrown in the fire. Never started center or played center my whole
Yeah.
career. And I'm like, here we go, Leonard Williams. And we're going to team events where USC's there and the Huskers are there. And he's walking by like, goddamn, like, this is the guy I'm going to have to block. But
Good thing I'm a junkyard dog.
yeah, good thing I'm a
Can I just be the fat dummy again?
right. No, you're right. Send me home. The funny part about that is, so he'd move out to D end on pass rush, and so he could get to, so they'd run a game, which is like the D tackle goes out and the end comes around, just a loop. And
yeah,
so Leonard Williams comes around and he's just got a full head of steam and just bull rushed me, walks me back. And he goes, wow, kid, you suck. Whoa. I'm like, whoa. What do you say back? You're like, yeah,
no, you
suck. Exactly. What are you going to say? Like,
shut up.
right. You're a 5th round, not 3rd round.
I'm gonna give you stitches too.
Right. Some stupid, So
Like,
that,
it would be so much better if the dude was like,
yeah.
man, you trash.
Did
But
you?
not like he goes, you're like actually bad.
He's like,
You suck.
he walks
What
me
are you
all the way
doing?
back. He's like, kid, you suck. And I'm like, wow.
What sport are you playing?
Did you watch The Last Bussin' with the Boys with Channing Crowder and the other dudes on there?
I just
Taylor?
watched Bo. I'm sorry, I just watched
Yeah,
Bo.
I think that's the only one. Bo
really?
and Amir, the only ones I've ever
they're
watched.
they're classic. You have to watch them. But Channing Crowder was on there. He's talking about Jonathan Ogden, how he was the best tackle, and he was like, "I'd be past 10." And Jonathan Ogden was like, "Oh no, little fella, you need to hit the weight room." That's how I felt in that moment. He's just like, "Oh, you're just too little, big,"
No.
So he's your Jonathan Ogden.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's funny though. So anytime he makes a play on that big screen, he gets a couple extra claps from me. But
Yeah.
We'll have to.
yeah, so so that happens. Bo gets fired. So that was a shit show in its own. Everyone was pissed. It's like guys winning 9-10 games. Is he freaking out on the sideline? Yeah. Is
He's
he
a
winning?
junkyard dog.
You know what I mean? So you know how it is. Kids need to get cussed at. Kids need to get yelled at. With Bo, you walk on eggshells whether you're going to class, whether you're going to meetings. You never wanted to get in trouble really. So that was a good thing. He developed guys that way. So once he got booted, that was crazy as hell. Anyways, we got an email saying he got fired. They don't even have the guts to really tell you that your head coach gets fired.
We heard that audio at Lincoln North Star.
Yeah, the Lincoln North
Classic,
Star audio.
isn't it?
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Where were you at when that video was recorded?
Front row?
Like where?
No, it's funny because everyone's like, "Who the fuck's the mole?" So, but it wasn't me. Don't
The
look at
dog's
me.
the mole.
Yeah,
The
me.
dog.
No,
The
no,
dog's the mole.
Never, dude. I would never do that. Like when that came out, it was just like because Bo was under wraps because someone had leaked that Iowa audio like the year before saying, fuck the fans.
Yeah.
But,
Oops.
us versus the world.
Yeah.
Us versus the world. But no, that was interesting. I mean, I don't know if anyone mentioned it, but so he gets fired on it was a Saturday, and then we have a team meeting with Eichhorst on that Sunday.
Yeah.
Eichhorst comes in with 3 bodyguards with him. You've heard that? 3 cops.
What?
Yeah, 3
Oh,
bodyguards.
shit.
With him.
We did not hear that.
No.
Yeah,
And didn't he just like speak a couple words and then he was out? Like
well, I
it
mean,
wasn't even-
sort of. Alex Lewis, like I said, Alex Lewis was a fucking badass, and he just stands up, and goes, just motherfucking. He was like, "Why the fuck would you fire a coach? You don't show up to practice. You ain't around, games. Like we don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
And so, he's like, well, if you fired him, fuck it. He's like, you better bring the best motherfucking coach in this, country. We're in Nebraska.
And then Sean's like,
Okay.
let me introduce you
so,
to.
I mean, and then we all see the ticker on ESPN and get straight
Did you have to
food.
Google him too?
I mean, didn't everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
So the players that were playing for him had to Google Mike Riley as well.
I mean,
So-
I'll never forget in the training room, there's probably 6 of us in there. And we're like, Mike Riley, great guy, but I mean, 500 coach, at Nebraska.
Guess
you
what he
want,
finished?
You want 500.
500.
Exactly. You want Urban Meyer, someone crazy like that in Nebraska. I mean, so he came in, and I mean, from there, the floodgates just opened. There was just no discipline really. Like guys were showing up late to lifting and like not getting repercussions for it. And I mean, you ask anyone that played under Bo, like they still have nightmares of missing workouts because you had to do, the punishment is called 100 get-ups or Turkish get-ups, where you hold a plate, you press it, you're standing up, you press it, you bring it down to your chest, you sit on your ass, you roll on your back, and so fat
hell
guys,
no.
you gotta roll to the side,
Yeah.
fat guys, you gotta roll to the side, but the skinny guys could just pump it out. But guys would just come in whenever, and it just like there was no structure really. And what most people say is with Bo, the academics, support staff had, Bo's support, the medical staff, the weightlifting staff, anyone that was involved was all on a team. And then once Riley was there, it was like everyone had different views. Like Boyd Epley was telling the strength staff to do this while they wanted to do this, and then the trainers wanted to do this while this, and just like no one was on the same page. So I mean, it was just all bad, Then you got the players bitching about this, that, and the other in the locker room, and then so it is what it is.
So you were a team captain during that time.
Mhm.
I mean, does that irk you a little bit that things kind of went that way under your watch, I guess? I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you went from walk on to captain. So
Right.
and then the struggle. I mean, we
Yeah.
heard your grind. I mean, you busted your ass.
Yeah.
To get
I mean,
to that point.
You didn't bust your ass to go to lose games, and we haven't
Yeah.
made a bowl game. I mean,
Since when?
since your last year.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Since you got
So I mean, how
Your
can I
butt
be,
kicked.
how can I be upset that my senior year we were the last to
Best walk on class.
I mean, best walk-on
Right,
class.
yeah.
We were number 7 at one point. So what was it, like 7, 8, 0? I mean,
Yeah.
last bowl game, last everything. So I mean, kind of as a testament to the senior class that we had. I mean, all of them were good dudes that put in the work, and you could just feel on the team when everyone has that camaraderie. Like maybe they had in other teams. You can't really gauge it until you're actually playing. You don't know what the other teams are like when you're on the scout team just because you're not around. But like I said, junior year, that class had a lot of studs the senior years, but I mean, everyone was just complaining and stuff. So, we wanted to flip the script, obviously, going into my senior year. So, we're balling out, we're doing our thing. And, we have some guys leave that were big, like Malik left, Vince Valentine left. So, I mean, some studs left that really could have helped us. But we go through the summer, we're, hyped and prepped for a good year. And then Fultzy passes away, so you go through all summer and you have a week before fall camp, and that's what happened. We all went away for a week. Fultz went to the kicking camp. So, I mean, you throw that a weekend before training camp 105, no one wants to say that it probably affected us, but I mean, once you lose your
how could it not?
Oh,
your star
100%.
player, I mean, he's going to the NFL. He was
Yeah.
the reigning, punter of the year. And, so that in its own was probably a bigger hurdle than most of us want to admit. But, we did our thing. I mean, our O-line was probably a little shaky then too. Gerald Foster got hurt. I know David Neville had got hurt. So me and Gates were really the only ones that had some playing experience. And so we kind of rolled with it. We did. We knew we had great skills on the edge, like we were talking about. that receiving core, you know, probably went, you know, toe to toe with anyone. All those guys were NFL guys. So
Yep.
it's just a lot of factors. You know, the thing that always irks me is everyone talks about the guys didn't lift or whatever.
Yeah, that's
Which
the biggest.
isn't-
That's the
isn't
biggest thing
true.
that we've debunked.
Yeah, it's been debunked on here every time we bring any Riley guys
Yeah.
on.
I guess what most people want to, and I'll vouch for this, is what it was is they would let you pick your weights, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And if you're letting an 18, 19-year-old kid pick his weights on a day he doesn't want to fucking lift heavy, what's he going to do?
45s.
45s,
Yeah.
2 plates, and, you know, just do his damn thing. So that's where probably there was a little bit of mishap. It was like, guys, you know, because Dobson and Coach Bostaff, I mean, they could tell you what we're doing in 3 years with Mark Phillips and them. You know, but hey, what are we doing for winter workouts? He's like, you know, we're still working on it. I was like, what do you mean? You know, everything should be programmed on a schedule. So,
Right.
I mean, we would still get after it though. I mean, those weight room days were crazy. That's the only reason I stayed at Nebraska. I was like, if I'm not gonna play, at least I'm gonna be working my, you know,
Yeah.
I love the weight room.
Probably the
you
best
know?
shape of your life, right?
Exactly. He's like, well, you're not gonna get this kind of workout or this nutrition ever, you know,
Right.
besides here. So that was always my thing. And shoot, I think the one thing I didn't walk away, I wanted the Lifter of the Year award, and I never got it. But
Who got it?
Luke McNitt, my senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't he also a walk on?
He went to Kearney, then walked on. So I mean, he was a good dude. He was pretty strong, but I mean,
But you went from a
But he's not the dog.
he
You know,
didn't
he's,
have
you
that
know,
dogness.
Junkyard
I mean,
dog.
great athlete, great thing, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I wanted that, but so that's
Yeah.
the one thing I'm salty. But yeah, like you said, going into senior year, you know, I didn't, you know, with Fultz passing, you know, I probably had taken Fultz captain spot, so it was a pretty big honor for me, you know, because if he's on the team, I mean, there's no doubt that I was probably the fourth in that selection crew.
Yeah.
So it was cool, you know, it was pretty big honor. You know, one thing I always say is I had 27 straight starts too, so kind of nice little dub thing, you know, 13 one year, 13 the other, and then that USC game. So never missed a game, you know, only came out for 2 plays because I dislocated my pinky, just pop that fucker back in and,
Yeah.
and hop in. But no, it was a good senior year. Was real fun. You know, like I said, we're rocking. Lincoln was rocking. We're 7-0. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really draw it up any better besides getting that win against Wisconsin.
Well,
Wisconsin's like my rival. I fucking
Wisconsin
hated
is where
playing them,
Wisconsin
dude.
is where the train left the rails.
Oh.
It was like that close loss, and then the next week was the blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine. I mean,
They're
Yeah.
just physical.
Yeah.
They're
Ohio
physical.
State-
They have a lot
Ohio
of junkyard dogs.
I mean, fuck. I mean, they came out. We always say this. I don't know if you guys listen to rap. They came out in the all black unis to some Future song. You know, just in the line where there's like
just some ignorant
yeah,
stuff.
dude, just getting
They didn't give a
after
shit.
it, dude. You're
Yeah.
like, wow, they might just. I mean, those are the guys where you know they have more than one Leonard Williams. You know, they got
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple of those guys
Yeah.
on that team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? And then we threw that pick six, third play of the game. I mean, Malik Hooker tried to frickin' take me out, so that was funny. But yeah, that was a weird game in its own. I mean, I'm sure you guys were questioning what happened with Tommy that game, just like everyone else. How
He was just a dead body on the sidelines. Yeah.
I don't know. How do they release someone from the hospital that quick? Is what I want.
Right.
Oh, the Ohio State game. I was
Yeah.
the 62-3.
Yeah.
I was freaking there. That was the longest drive home I've ever had in my
Yeah.
entire life.
Imagine the bus back to. That's the good thing about being on the team. You know, everyone's driving home, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready back in Lincoln.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
It was like, and Tommy, I mean, came back in like scrubs or some shit.
yeah,
I'm like, what the
I
hell?
wasn't sure. I mean, it was less than 30 minutes. It's like,
Yeah.
where the fuck's the hospital? It shouldn't have taken you 30 minutes to get to the hospital. Where's a CT scan? Like, I don't know. I never understood that one, but you know, Fife comes in the game and we're down probably like 30-0.
And then it's just air raid.
Just slap on the ass, like, hey, don't worry, buddy, this one's over. Like, just come in here, don't turn the ball over, and we're good.
You should have told us in the stands that, hey, they know it's over. So
I mean, 30-0 against Ohio State.
yeah, it was pretty rough.
You're gonna
That's
have
the
to,
first stadium I've ever been to that sold alcohol,
really.
and my ass hurt when the game was over. Not only from the game,
from the
but from the amount of money I spent on the $13-14 beers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so-
the rails did fall off. That was the shitty thing about then. You know, there's still probably a chance to go to the Big Ten West. You know, and I thought we could have, but you know, we lost to Iowa too, which probably knocked us out.
Yep.
And I never got to beat Iowa. I never got to beat Wisconsin. So it's
Well,
like
you're not alone.
Yeah, but fuck, Wisconsin. They
you
were.
were on the 2014 team that beat Iowa, though, weren't you?
Yeah, but I never.
But
I
you
wasn't
didn't play.
playing,
Okay,
you know,
so
so
you
it's
didn't
like
play. Doesn't
yeah,
count.
it doesn't count when you're not
Doesn't
playing.
count,
You
okay.
know, that was a good game in itself though too.
Yeah,
so.
don't kick it to him. Don't kick it
And
to
they
him.
did right.
They kicked it to him.
don't punt. Don't punt.
I mean,
Hey, we had
yeah.
Demorny on twice, and
I know.
it's fun.
Yeah, he's good stuff. I'll never forget when DeMornay came on the team. You know, his locker was right next to mine, and I'm like, what position do you play, little guy?
Hey, little feller.
You know, he's like receiver. I'm like, holy shit, I thought you were a corner for sure. And then he ends up being an All-American punt returner that year.
Yeah,
And I
his
was like,
freshman
wow.
year.
Yep.
God, he was electric.
I think a lot of that goes to what it was is the return teams were asked for a couple years, and Coach Bo was finally like, fuck this, I'm running the show on special
Interesting.
teams. Yeah.
That's something that we've
Sounds
said on
familiar.
this show. I mean, so this is episode 51. We probably said it 49 times at least.
Our very first episode had to deal with
special teams. And
Our
it
very
was
first-
going into last season. We're like,
Yeah.
special teams has to be an
Has
emphasis.
to be.
And so what's the easiest way to take care of special teams? Do it yourself. If
Yeah.
you're a head coach and you've done the grind of being a coach, you should be able to coach
Yeah,
special
you should
teams.
know, right?
And obviously the special teams was the thorn
I think
all
it's
year again.
Yeah, it's a copycat league too. You know, just what are the successful people doing? Watch film. You know, how are they setting up their blocks, or what gets guys open? But that return game in itself, I think you kind of have to just have a knack for it
Yeah.
too. You know,
You got to have the guys and
it's got to be the returner to their vision or their timing. You know, you'll see usually the ones that go to the house, like they slow step it and then they just take off and find the seam. But I don't know. It was cool to watch DPE go off that year though.
hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was just gonna say, so
Yeah.
to wrap up, your playing career,
Yeah.
2017, I went back and I read your tweet,
Yeah.
your farewell, like I'm
Yeah.
retiring tweet, right?
Yeah.
So talk about a lot of kids are banking on the next level,
Mm-hmm.
and the reality is that it might not happen.
Right.
So kind of talk about the thought process between when you realize okay, you know
Mhm.
what, the next level isn't gonna happen,
Yeah.
and what I'm gonna do now.
Mhm. It was kind of a weird thing, my transition out, after that, I thought I had to, obviously I wasn't fucking road grading and pancaking guys, but, enough to maybe sneak on a practice, make a little bit of bread while you're, still young. But
Mhm.
when I got done, no scouts were hitting me up, no agents were calling me. So I'm like, shit, do I have a chance, And I had a little foot injury my senior year that I was kind of rehabbing too. And it was just all that, once you're done with that senior year, everything happens so fast. You have to start training, pro days there, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
you don't really have a time to decompress or breathe or, anything. So, no one calls me or anything. So I'm kind of working out. I I pulled my hammy 3 weeks before pro day. So go through that. My goal was just don't pull the hammy through pro day. So they send me, Han, Whitaker, and maybe another guy through we didn't even do a blocking drill. We just did bag work, old school shuffle between the bags, high knees between them. They're like, all right, you guys are good. So I'm
And you're like, yeah.
shit.
This is how a pro is made.
I was like, okay, well, they're not looking at us at all, So
Right.
honestly, I went back home. I just started, making money really. And it was 2 weeks before pro day, the Vikings and the Browns called. They're like, hey, we're going to take you up here for, undrafted free agent, come to rookie camp. I'm like, well, shit, you guys, that'd been cool to hear before, a week out. But, I was still working out. I just wasn't fucking pass setting and run blocking, doing that stuff. So we go up there, and Rick Spielman was the GM there. So, JD's dad. So it was me, Han, Tommy, Terrell, and there might have been a fifth Husker up there. So it was kind of nice to have those guys. And Jeremiah Searles was there too. So he kind of gave us a little bit of insight. So you go up there, and they ended up taking the number one center off the board. I can't even remember. It was just Ohio State guy that year, but Pat Eiflin is who it was. But you go up there, and I'm a pretty realistic guy. I thought I was, kind of holding my own, but, as a shorter center, you're either going to be the starting center or you better be able to play guard, tackle, and all that. So, just kind of from there, you're just just let's go on. Going back, if I could redo it, it was probably don't probably tweet out that, maybe try to go through the fall, give it one full year, because shit, how many leagues have popped up since then where you could go make a $50K a year, just go play some ball games. But,
Right.
like I said, I hadn't, like we talked about earlier, no injuries. So it's you kind of really hit the lotto if you can still, walk and talk at the same time. But,
Right.
Hey, that's a bonus. That is a bonus.
So, we went through there. But, dude, when you're done playing, my dream was always Nebraska football, so you go there and you come back home, you move to the dirty LV, and you have to re-identify yourself. You know?
Take a shower.
Really? You come back to LV and you're, that's kind of what I tell guys now. I remember when B. Riley ended up calling it good. I was like, hey, man, if you're able to accept that, nothing will be quite as fun as being an athlete, life will be a lot easier. So, that's just one of those things you kind of you got to do it, man. And it's really hard, and, I'm a pretty strong mental guy. And it kind of makes me worry about guys that probably don't have their head on as straight as probably I do. how the hell are they doing in the real world?
Yeah,
You know?
where they come from, this might be like their best chance.
You know,
you know what I
and
mean?
it's like what are those guys up to? Are they having troubles back home? So I think colleges could do probably better jobs of getting people out into the real world and kind of figuring out like, hey, Dylan, do you have a job? Or are you like how's
we're not
shit going?
Yeah,
I
mean, and I don't want to keep going back to this, but just like the military tries to make sure that like, hey, when you get out,
they don't set you
we want to make sure that you understand what an actual life looks
Yeah.
like outside of the military.
You're
you know
a
what I mean?
civilian now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny that you say that because my buddy, like I said, he got medically retired, and he says like the military almost traps you in thinking that you can't make it outside
Yeah.
of the military walls.
Yeah, they like warn you over and over
like,
and over.
you won't
again.
do anything out.
Yeah.
So I know that was a big deal for him. So his idea was like, let me figure shit out before I retire, so then that way I can hit the ground running. So
Yeah,
kind of like the same thing, but we kind of do this. It's like you either go to the military or you go to college. So it's kind of like two different routes, but
Yeah.
they lead you almost to the same thing. College, you graduate.
at the end of the day,
see ya.
you have a life to live after whatever you're doing.
So
Yeah,
that was cool, and I like being in Nebraska. A lot of my people are from here. A lot of my friends are from here. So,
Yeah.
Some people don't like running into their old high school people at, Walmart or wherever the hell you're
Or like on
shopping.
podcasts and
You
shit.
know,
you know?
so I don't know. I enjoy it.
Put on the mask.
Oh, yeah. That's you, huh?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you told us a lot about your playing career, had some awesome stories. I'm so glad you shared some of that stuff because hell, we learn something new every time
Oh, yeah.
you guys come on here.
Yeah.
So
Indeed.
let's shift to 2022. The seat's never been hotter for Scott Frost. We didn't think it could get hotter after last year. It's as hot as lava.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. New staff, new O-line coach,
Oh, yeah.
new
Oh, yeah.
quarterback. Name a position. Probably gonna say new in front of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Dylan, what do you think? What are you hoping is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? I mean, you've gone through a staff change like that. Maybe not. I mean, besides the head guy. I mean, we went through an entire staff change on
Right,
on
culture
one side of the
change.
ball.
Culture
change. That's a good way to put it. Dylan, what do you think could happen, or what do you hope happens this season?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like any other, when you first get out, you want the Huskers to win, but I feel like everyone wants them to win even more now, So last year was a heartbreak, you could have flipped the coin and they could have been, 8-9 wins. So this year you just don't want to see the dumb mistakes that they kept doing over and over, whether it be, the first game throwing the football out of the end zone or the punt return. I mean, it was just game after game.
That's
And
awesome.
that's what we talked about when are you blaming the players or the coaches? It's like, are you going over those things? You can't go over every scenario, but it's like you got to prep those guys to be ready for, crazy scenarios to happen. But, we want to see, obviously, establish the run game. It feels like we haven't been able to run the ball in a long time. So, I mean, you got to start doing that. The O-line is going to be really fresh. I mean, you lose Juergens, which is a dagger.
Yeah.
With Teddy will be back. So he showed really, good promise last year. I couldn't believe they started him. Was he a true freshman last year too?
Yeah.
I mean,
he didn't have a chest hair or a pube or anything.
that baby
he was
face.
and he's starting against Ohio State.
Against
like,
the Ohio State. But no, I mean he'll probably have to be the anchor in there. It seemed like he was probably the most proficient, and just getting the job done. So you just want to see a good run game. JoJo leaving will be a dagger. I thought he played his ass off last year. So you kind of just hope, want to see leaders step into the role since, I mean, I don't know about you guys who are the leaders going into next year. So
we have like the third. What did we say?
Second least returning production in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
yeah. That's so.
So
Your guess is as good as ours.
Casey
Yeah.
Thompson has to step in, and
He'll be a starter. He's going to be a
No,
captain.
no, not just
you say
you know,
captain, but
right.
my senior year, Tommy wasn't the captain. So it's like,
true.
Those guys, I mean, you got to prove it, so
Yeah.
we'll see. The spring ball has never been more important. You got to establish a whole new offense. Verbiage is always different. Play calls are always different. So that's going to be the dagger. I mean, just depends how much production they can get in the spring, but they looked bigger. They looked faster last year. They're looking the part, which when they first got here, the goal was, you want to look the part against Wisconsin and Iowa. So they're playing harder, and that's one thing you love to see. I mean, I can't really – like the wins were bad last year, but you loved watching the games. You know, they gave you something proud, proud to watch at least, even though we wouldn't win the games. It was great watching the Huskers last year. So it's got to be 7-8 wins. I mean – Mr. Rogers, as you said, only got 3 years, so where's the line of, when do you get rid of a guy and when do you keep him for some, more games?
Well, that line becomes extra wide, I guess, or extra, forgiving.
Yeah.
If he's born in Wood River, Nebraska, and he's won a natty for you, and,
Hey, and maybe that's how it should be, okay? But that line it's burning.
is it
thick.
a hot line?
It's burning up, okay?
Yeah.
And we want nothing other than Scott Frost to succeed and be the next Tom Osborne. But
I just think at a place like Nebraska, you should be able to fall into 6 wins, really.
It's a blue blood program, man.
I think that if you're coaching your guys and they're showing up and they're doing what you say, I don't know. I'm always a guy. I like to watch my film before I make judgments. It'd be nice to watch film and see who's messing up. Some people could say it's the players. Is it we don't have the Joes? Is the coaching? Is the scheme bad? So. I always thought, even at Nebraska, when we were winning or losing, you never really know why. You just hope that whatever the coaches are doing, it's the right thing, because the player's job is to play. I was never a guy to bitch about the plays or anything. So as long as, they got to get that 7-8 wins. I mean, if you don't get the 6th bowl game.
I mean, you don't just make a bowl game, and I don't give a shit how thick that line is.
Or where you're from, or
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And we've always, the thing that I've been preaching is just go to the Cheeto bowl game.
Who cares?
Go to the Patriarch
Foster
Distillers
Farms?
Bowl.
The Foster Farms at
Yeah.
5-7.
Sure,
Yeah.
We were
Sure.
there.
Dang it!
Yeah.
Hold on. You got to get to 500, don't you?
We didn't that year, academics,
I
baby.
know,
For
I
the
know.
Big Ten.
Yeah, good thing you're good at school, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, hey, what happened to
Football
that
guy.
coach in the end? You know what I mean?
Right.
Shoot. What you
Okay.
point?
I was just trying to have you wrap us into
Oh, okay. Yeah.
to Dylan's scholarship thing.
Okay, I didn't know. All right.
I was trying to point at it.
We cut all this
Yeah.
out.
I'll cut
All right.
this out.
Bowl game or bust. We're agreeing with that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, so Dylan, just get into plug yourself. What are you up to nowadays? Talk
Yeah.
about your 180 Realty Group. What's
Yep.
going on with that?
Yep. So I sell real estate in Omaha now. Been doing it for 2.5, going on 3 years maybe, with the local group. So been working with them. Like I said, Gina was on the group before, so that's kind of how I got introduced to that crew. She moved on, and I kind of stuck with those guys. So love them. They help me out. Being like I said, re-identifying yourself into the real world isn't the easiest thing. So
Yeah.
joining those guys, they've been super helpful. Like I said, my buddy that was in the military retired, so we have our painting company that we do too. So kind of juggling those back and forth keeps you busy. And then last year I decided to start a scholarship foundation, open, Dylan Utter Play It Forward scholarship for Papillion South student athletes. When I was at Nebraska, I had the Buffett scholarship, Susan Buffett, shout out, so
Yeah.
that paid for tuition and books basically. So it was a no brainer for me to walk on once I'm getting basically, a free full ride still.
Right.
So, just wanted to give back. It's like I said, I love being in Nebraska. I love being a local guy. So it's, I got a good support system where, it's pretty easy to round up some people to bowl on a Saturday afternoon and donate money and just go from there. And I mean, $1,000 can kind of go a long way for a kid, whether, like I said, I told them if it's for books, you get a little bit more refund. I mean, go spend it wherever the hell you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Dylan, tell us, when is this event? Where is it at? What can people do to sign up and help in any way?
Yeah. So March 26th from 12 to 3, it's at Mockingbird Lanes in Ralston over there. Reach out to me, usually on social media. You could get me on Facebook with my name, or Instagram, Days with Dutter. But it's kind of however you want. Last year, some people showed up, some people donated, some people did raffle items. Kind of just, it was a community, crew that helped out. I had a lot of people that put it together for me. And, like I said, last year we had Joey Burrow sign football. We had the volleyball team sign a football. Nick Gates was there. So it was just kind of cool to get everyone back together. I had some other, former teammates and people come out. So no, it was a real good time. So this year we're kind of trying to grow it bigger, maybe to different schools in the future or whatever the case might be. But it was a good turnout. So looking to do the same this year.
Yeah, we don't need to limit it to just to the Papillion La Vista
the
School
dirty.
District.
Yeah.
The dirty.
The Junkyard Dogs, right?
You can
I
expand
love
past
it.
that.
I love the Junkyard Dog. I don't know why.
You
It's
should just start signing things as Dylan, the Junkyard Dog Utter.
If they could just go back to a 7th, 8th grade practice and hear our freaking or a junior high coach just say this. I mean,
Can you imagine going back in time and telling Mr. Wood?
he
You
would
know
wear
what I
those
mean?
shoes that had the spring heel on it. If you guys remember,
Hey,
that.
they're good for your back.
He was like, Honor. His voice was just it, man. But no, he was good stuff. So yeah, no, like I said, grateful to be in Nebraska. Papillion La Vista has always, treated me well. It's, pointed me to the right direction. Had got, a lot of good mentors. So just kind of trying to do the same thing that people did for me and give back, really. So it's been good stuff.
All right, man.
Well, hey, I mean, that's 2 back-to-back guests that have a pretty strong impact on their community. So
Sure.
bravo to you,
I appreciate
Mr.
Yeah.
Dylan, the Junkyard Dog Utter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I should get a tattoo or something.
You should.
Yes.
I can't believe you don't have one
I
already.
know,
Shoot.
but
Hey, if you want a no block, no rock tattoo,
Hey,
Yeah.
I'll be the first one. I'll be the first one. So.
you'll be the first one.
Yeah,
Even
and the only one.
even dudes in LV don't have tats like that.
Junkyard Dog
Like
or
no
or
block.
or no block, no rock.
Right.
That's funny.
Even
Well, no,
guys in La Vista will be like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, they get the barbed wire instead.
Yeah,
don't
barbed
they?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, I think that's a excellent place to leave this episode. Dylan,
yeah.
thank you so much for finally coming on the
Yes, sir.
podcast,
Yeah.
man.
No, yeah,
Appreciate
no
it.
Episode
problem.
50/51.
Yeah.
Damn
I was
right.
gonna say, you guys don't have anyone for a week, just let me know. I'll come by and
Hey.
shoot
man.
some more shit. So.
Hell
That-
yeah.
He's got more stories, right?
Yeah, I could
Yeah.
you could go forever. I mean, yeah, you could go forever.
Yeah,
Let me
I
just
bet.
tell ya.
Yeah, man.
So,
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. We'll keep in touch with you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Mhm.
All right, let's sign off, guys. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Kyle Byers.
Mike Delaware.
Dylan Utter.
And as always, GBR.